Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we're doing Painted Poppies again, which is a lovely stamp set and you can do so much with it. And we're also using Well Said, and these have some absolutely lovely sentiments. Some of them absolutely perfect at the moment. We've got Far Apart but Close at Heart and You Mean the World to Me. So those are the sentiments that we're using today, and I'm just going to get them out. I stamped the because they're very difficult to see upside down. I actually stamped a sheet out so it makes it easier for me to see. So we want You Mean the World to Me, which is this one at the bottom. And we want, what was the other one that we said? Oh, I can't find it. Far Apart but Close at Heart. So that's on this side. Far Apart but Close at Heart. Right. Okay, so I've got those out to start off with. And we are just going to take some scraps and a block. I think you can do it on this one. Oh, let's have it the right way up. There we go. And we're just going to cut some of these out. And I'm just using a good black ink. So this is a stamp set which is in two parts, the Well Said, and it's one that you will use again and again. So I'm going to do a couple of these because then I can cut some of them out at another time. So You Mean the World to Me. So let me just clean this one out as I go. Should be about right. And then let's take the other one. Because at the moment, as the world is changing for us all, we don't have our family and our friends close to us at the moment. And thank goodness for modern technology, because we can all do, you know, FaceTiming and Zoom and all of those sorts of things, so we can keep in contact, and the telephone. But it's not the same as going around and visiting, and I know that a lot of you around the world are in this lockdown, as we call it, or you know, staying at home and keeping yourselves safe, which is wonderful. But we don't get to see our family and our close friends as we used to. So a nice little sentiment that says Far Apart but Close at Heart and You Mean the World to Me, just I thought was absolutely lovely. So what we're going to do with these, I'm only going to use one of them, but I've done the other, so I've got one already stamped for later on if I want it. And these are very easy to literally just fussy cut out. So just with a pair of scissors, and I'm doing a little bit of a curve round the side because I think it makes it a little neater. And then we can get onto the other side and just cut it out. And then again round on these bits, if you just sort of curve them with your scissors, it makes it a little bit neater. So this little edge here we didn't curve, so I can just give that just a little bit of a curve round. Okay, so You Mean the World to Me, we'll use that one, and the other one, Far Apart but Close at Heart. So again, I'm just literally cutting it out relatively close, but not so close that it's over it, and just turning it round on the corner. So you get that, just that little bit of curve coming through. And then just round on there. Okay, so that's our sentiments done, and we'll use those at the end. Now we are going to use a scrap of designer series paper. Now this little scrap is from the Poppy suite, so the Poppy paper, and it measures 1 inch. So it's 1 inch by whatever the length of your cardstock is. So for me, it's going to be 5 1/4. But whatever size, just sort of, you'll find that when you're cutting down your papers, you quite often have little inch strips left. So we're taking these colours and we're trying to replicate that in our stamping. So that's something that can be a little difficult, but I thought we would have a go. And so we're going to take one of the big poppies, we're going to take the smaller poppy, and we're going to take this leaf here. So those 3, and then we can use just a piece of cardstock, and we are going to stamp. Let me see what sizes. I can put this one on here. And again, I'm doing it in a good black ink. I'm going to keep that there because that's my reference for my colour, because I want to replicate those colours. So let's ink this up well, and we'll have one of them, and then we'll have, let me do this on this one, and we'll have one of these. Sorry, we'll have 2 of those ones. Like that. Now I am going to have to clean it up. So clean that one. Clean this one. And then we've got the leaves, and I like to do the leaves in 3s because 3s seem to work quite well. You could do 5s. Odd numbers are always better, but I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3. Now we do have a coordinating die for this, however it's out of stock at the moment, so you can fussy cut these images out relatively easily, and that's what we're going to do on this one. I have got the dies because I got them early enough. If you've got them, use your dies, but if you haven't, don't panic too much because you can fussy cut things out. The stamp set is still available, so if you haven't got it, it is a lovely one. But the dies at the moment are out of stock, so it's been a very popular one, and like everything at the moment, it's going to take a little while to get new stocks in. So right, now we've got what we want, we're going to try and, as I say, replicate some of those colours. So on this I've taken a mixture of colours, so let me get some of them out. I'm using Highland Heather. I've got light and dark out. I'm not sure whether I'm going to use both of them. And I've got Rich Raspberry light and dark. And then I want some red in on here. So I'm going to take the light. What have I got? I've got a light cherry cobbler. So I think those will work perfectly. So let's have a little go and see what we can do. I want to do the... I'm going to do the Highland Heather in the dark first of all. So let's do it on this one. So we've got the Highland Heather coming through, and I'm just doing it along on here. And although that's not the colour, I think it will work when we blend it in with some of the others. Okay, then I'm going to take the light rich raspberry. Let's make sure that that is light rich raspberry. Yes, it is. So the light rich raspberry, and I'm just going to blend through on this. Now, the tips of mine are a bit raggedy because I am getting low and I need to replace some of them. So in my next order I will be replacing some of them. But for now, there's still enough to go in and do it. So I'm going over the top of that Highland Heather, and I'm hoping I'm going to have enough in here to do this. With a bit of luck, I should do. So we're going to go round on here. I'm only going to do one of the flowers for you. I have done them all and cut them out, but I just wanted to show you how you can get almost exactly the colour that matches. So let's go on this one. So we're just going over the top. So combining the rich raspberry, which is the light, and the dark Highland Heather, it gives that sort of quite nice, subtle tone from the centre and gives the colour that we want. So I'm just taking it round on all of these and going over the top up to my edges. I'm just blending over the top of here. Okay, now we need to take some reds, because there's quite a bit of red in there. If you look, there's sort of reds in there. So I'm taking, this is the light cherry cobbler, but whatever sort of reds you've got. And again, this one is a little bit old. And what I'm doing with this is I'm going to go round the edge of the petals here. So just sort of taking it round on the edge of them. I'm just sort of following just the outside curve. Don't want it to come right the way into the centre. Just want this sort of outside curve in there. We can bring it down on some of the little bits, just a little bit, but not all the way down. And then we're going to take the light rich raspberry again. Make sure that I've got that one. Light rich raspberry again, and we're going to go over the top of that. So by going over the top as well, it blends this bit, but it also will give you, once it dries, it gives you a nice little bit of lightness in the centre here, which we want to sort of keep. So I'm just going through over on here. I do little tiny sort of circular motions, but there's no sort of rhyme. It is fairly forgiving. There's no sort of rhyme or reason on it. And as I've always said, I am no expert at doing the blends, but I do enjoy giving it a go. Okay, so that then, if we look at this paper on here, we've got all of those sorts of shades going on quite nicely with the red and everything on it. So that's how we're going to do the flowers. Now, as I said, if you have got the die, fantastic. If you haven't, and I'm just going to cut this one out. So you will carry on and you would colour in these two, and you colour in the leaves. The leaves are fairly straightforward. Just do them in Old Olive, or you can do them in Granny Apple Green. You can do them a combination of them both. So as I say, with this, just go round the edge. You can leave a little bit of a shadow in there if you want to. And again, you know, I quite enjoy fussy cutting. I wouldn't say I was an expert by any means, but you don't really have to be, because it's a fairly straightforward shape to follow around. So you just have to turn your paper as you go, and you can always trim it off a bit if you want to afterwards, but I'm just leaving a little tiny white edge on it and just going around. But it is a relatively easy shape to follow, so just work your way around. And we're nearly round, so you can see how it's not too difficult to just fussy cut it round. But as I say, if you have the dies, fantastic, but you don't need the dies, because you can just cut it out like that. Okay, so I will show you one leaf just in case you want to, and I'm going to use, what am I going to use for mine? I think I'm going to use, what have I got? I've got, what's this one? Light Granny Apple Green, that looks quite nice. And then I've got a light Old Olive, I think it is. Yes, light Old Olive, let's try that one. See if I can get the lids off of these ones. What's the little one? I won't get that side off. Okay, so the leaf, literally, I'm just doing the whole thing in the Old Olive down here. Or it's light Old Olive. I haven't got the dark Old Olive, that's run out completely, but we can use, let's use dark Granny Apple Green. So you can sort of mix and match. That one comes out, and I'm just going to take some highlight bits on here and bring them sort of down on the centre, just at the bottom here. And then I'm going to take the Old Olive again and just go over. And you can see these are lovely and juicy, so that they blend perfectly. And then just let that dry, and then you've got your leaf. So it's not, you can just combine two different colours, a light and a dark, and again just fussy cut that out if you want to. I'm not going to do that one. So as I say, the colours that we used on this, just as a recap for you, is the light Cherry Cobbler, the we didn't use that one, the light, no, the dark Highland Heather, and the light Rich Raspberry. So you can see, you can sort of blend different colours in, and then you've got this lovely one which matches perfectly. Okay, so let's go on to building our card. I have taken a background piece of the, this is Blackberry Bliss actually, and then a white card piece to go on the centre like that. Then I am going to put this piece down on here. So let's get this sorted. What I want to do is, we'll just put it straight on here. So I'm going to put this, which is just literally my mat and my card base. Now I'll give you the UK measurements, but they're going to be different from anywhere else. So this is 5.5 inches by 3 3/4, and this piece is 3.5 inches by 5 1/4. So I always do my mats and everything just a 1/4 of an inch smaller. Okay, so that's that done on there. Now this piece, I want, as I said, this was 1 inch strip by, I'm doing it 5 1/4 because that's going to fit on here. But again, do it what fits your size. And I want to give a 1/4 of an inch border on here because I think that that will look quite nice, and we'll just tie it in. So again, my preferred glue is wet glue, Tombow, because I find that that works the best for me. And with this, I'm doing it this way down because I want to be able to get that, just that little 1/4 of an inch, and I find it easier to get it where I want it doing it sideways. Okay, so we've got our nice little strip on down there with our 1/4 of an inch gap. And then we've got our 2 sentiments, which is far apart but close at heart, and you mean the world to me. So we've got those to go on, and then we've got our flowers and leaves. Now, as I said to you, in Blue Peter fashion, I have already done those. So we have got 3 flowers. In fact, I can use the flower that we've done on here. So I've got a flower and 2 of the petals, or 2 of the smaller flowers, and then I've got 3 leaves that I've already cut out. Okay, so you can see these ones were done with the die cut. That one I just fussy cut. So to be quite honest, there isn't a huge amount of difference. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use dimensionals to give me a little bit of height on here. And I want to have the far apart at the top on here, I think. So about there. So I need to make sure that this is going to come a little bit lower. So let me get some dimensionals out of my packet. And I'm going to use some of the minis, and I'm going to use some of the standards because they work in conjunction really well together. So let's put the dimensionals on the back to start off with. So I'm just going to put 1 in the center. You don't need any more than that, and because we need to tuck things underneath. So 1 in the center of each one of these. And these are the standards, so 1 in the centre there and 1 in the centre there. And then on the little ones, or the leaves, we are going to put, again, just 1 fairly near the top so that we can poke the leaves in where we want to poke them. Okay, so that's those. So I want to put this one in first, and I am going to put it, again, lay your layouts down first so that you get a good idea of where you want to put them. Now this one, I coloured it in a little bit darker, so that one can go underneath on this one because that's going to be more in the shadow anyway, and this one's going to go on the top. So that to there, that to there, that to there. Right, so I need to put this one in first, and it's going to go right about down there. So let's take this off, put it in the direction that we want it. We can take the others out, and so we want it there. Okay, then we can put this one in down the bottom. And I like to sort of turn it round so we have one sort of facing in one direction and one in the other, and then just tuck it in underneath. And then this one is going to come in at the top, and we can tuck that one in that way, in that direction. Okay, now we've got our leaves. So I'm going to have one out in this direction in here. So I'm going to take one out there, bring that across. I'm going to take another one in on here. I think I'll have that sort of up at that sort of angle. Tuck that one in a little bit more. So that one can go up there. And then this one is going to come in and come down. Let's take that off. So we'll have this one coming in just down on there. Just make sure that it just tucks in. So having the 3, it works out rather nicely. And then I've got the far apart but close at heart. And then you mean the world to me, I'm going to put across here. So I'm going to glue that one on. So again, a little bit of wet glue. And then we can put that in on here. Whoops. Turn it that way around. You mean the world to me. And I'm just going to take it across where the leaf is and just on the top of there, just across. I think that'll work quite nicely. And again, the wet glue will just hold it down where we want it to. And then this one I am going to put up, I think, with a dimensional, or am I going to put it down? Yes, I am going to put this up. So this will have just a couple of the minis. So we can have one on one side and one on the other. And we could put a little bit of twine or something like that underneath it if we wanted to, which might look quite nice, but I'm not going to do that for now. I'm just going to do it as it is, but you could add a little bit of twine or a bit of ribbon or something like that, but I think I'm going to have that so it just comes out there. Okay, so you've then got far apart but close at heart, and then I am going to just add a little bit of, let me have a look and see, I've got some, these little gold ones might look quite pretty. Yes, I am. I'm going to use some of the gold metallic, or am I going to use, right, there's 2 different things that I can use. We'll have a look and see what we think. I don't think these are going to match perfectly. The pinky ones with the purples definitely don't, and the blues don't, and I think they're a little bright, so I am going to go with the gold metallic pearls. These are absolutely lovely. I really do like them. So I've got some golds and I've got some silver, but I think the gold will just pick that up quite nicely. So let's just take my take your pick tool, which I find is the easiest to do on here. I've got a few that have sort of shimmied across, so let's just pick those up, and we'll have one down on there, hair on there, one up on there, and I'm going to have one down on there. Yeah, I think that'll work. Just like that. Okay, so that has made just a little bit of extra in on there. But I think that the colouring, to get that exact sort of purple hue, I was quite pleased with. So I hope it's something that you will try. And again, sentiment-wise, I think taking sentiments from some of the lovely ones that we have, and as I say, this is an absolutely lovely, it's a 2-part set, but they're a beautiful, beautiful things. You know, whatever, whenever, I'm here for you. Sending healing thoughts your way. There's lots of really nice sayings that are perfect for this time that we're all going through. So as I always say to you at the end of my videos, stay safe, stay well, and enjoy crafting. So thank you so much for watching me. Do look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye.